There's something, I guess, I think people are resistant to platitudes, and I think basically that's a good thing. You ought to question, all sorts of platitudes. But this idea that there's a shortcut, this idea that you can somehow, get there faster, we're really in love with it, man. And the key to making that possible is to identify your enemy. And we've identified work as the proximate cause of our pain. And so, the proposition's simple. The faster you can retire, the faster you can get to the weekend. Look, the 4-hour work week was a best-selling book for years on the New York Times list, right? The whole premise, you'll be happier if you can work less. And so we can take that and we can package it 1,000 different ways, from pop culture to, you just go down the list. But in the end, that's the message we're sending. If you're unhappy in your work, it can't be your fault. Either blame the work or something else, and off we go.
Well, I find it beautiful what you said. I honest to God thought it was like Aaron Copland-esque to me when you said that people can prosper doing something none of us would ever contemplate. Honest to God, I heard Requiem for the Common Man up in full when I heard that.
Thanks. In my head, the soundtrack is Dvorak. It's a symphony for the new world for me all the time. And that actually isn't my quote. That came from a guy named Les Swanson, who was a septic tank cleaner in Wisconsin. I spent a day with him. And at one point, we were literally up to our nipples in effluvium, just knocking cholesterol off the walls of this little steel coffin about 120 degrees. And I looked at him. I said, "Jesus, how'd you get here?" And he said, "Well, I was a guidance counselor before this and a psychiatrist." And I said, "Well, why did you leave?" And without missing a beat, of course, he said, "I got tired of dealing with other people's crap." And we laughed. But what followed was a pretty serious conversation about this whole passion thing.
Yes.
And I said, following your passion, it's like that's the advice everybody gets. And he goes, "Let me tell you something. That's the biggest load of crap there is. You follow your passion at your peril. What you do is you always keep your passion close, but you never follow it." I'm here right now in my own business with half a dozen employees and 2 trucks, because what I did was I looked around to see where everybody was heading, and I went the other way. And it brought me to a septic tank. But guess what? I'm having the time of my life. I'm autonomous. I'm not only paying the bills, I'm prospering. Right? And so it's literally, I made up that's when we started doing our alternative platitude posters. Mm-hmm. So we would literally, on Dirty Jobs, every couple of months, identify some little bit of pabulum that had been universally embraced and question it, right? And we started with passion. And so our posters now say, never follow your passion, but always bring it with you. And it's really interesting now to read in the headlines that, in fact, what we're really kind of going back to is this idea that, it's so screwed up. We're simply saying your pole star should be your dream. What a crock, man. That's not right. It's just, watch the early episodes of American Idol, and you really see what happens when people become so disconnected from reality. Yes. And they're standing there and they can't believe that they can't sing. For the first time in their life, they're learning. No, the stream's not going to work out for you. Retool, rethink, get real. Your passion will come later. The biggest lesson of Dirty Jobs, honestly, was find something that most people aren't willing to do, find a way to be great at it, then find a way to love it. And we did 300 of them. And one after the next. The evidence demands a verdict.
Yeah.
And it just got to the point where the show was done, but the lessons, man.
I loved watching it listen, the show works as a TV vehicle, but the look on the face is akin to the look like on Guy Fieri's show when somebody makes a corned beef sandwich. Yeah. And they all make a corned beef sandwich, but when you watch the look on that guy's face, here's how I do it, and then he cracks it off. I always get that, I just love to see people fully actualized. And you need that, I don't know, it touches me. Other things about humanity I don't get, but when I can see that somebody's proud of something, it wipes me out.
Well, look, Dirty Jobs was as much about process as it was content. And, shooting that show the way we did was just as important as what we did on it. We never did a second take. You know, we really wanted to be flies on walls. And the only way to pull that off was to abandon, I forget who the caller who said it, but, you know, being a host of a show like that is the opposite of what you need to do if you really want to pay an authentic tribute to somebody. You need to be an apprentice or an avatar, maybe.
That's a good idea.
Right?
That's a good thought, Mikey.
So let the anonymous cat in the sewer be the expert. Because guess what? He knows more about sewers than I do.
Right.
And I'll be the perpetual guinea pig. You know, so for me, it was Groundhog's Day every day, right? And eventually, when I got past the fact that, okay, I'm going to take a pie in the face and I'm not going to look very competent, but the truth is, that manages expectations. It puts the onus exactly where it should be on the person who actually knows what the hell he's talking about. And it lets me be a viewer, a fish out of water. And I could do that. I could still be doing that. But that's the only way we got through 8 years.